Good morning. Welcome to ICFB Star Entertainment. This morning, we're very privileged and honored to bring on Howard J. Levinson and to discuss his music career and things that entertain. Howard J. Levinson. So, welcome to our show, Howard J. Levinson. We're very delighted to have you here.
Well, good morning, Tara. It's good to be here.
Thank you. So, a couple questions for you today.
Sure.
First of all, the most important question is, how'd you get started in music?
Oh, geez. Well, I think I've been playing music either in bands or by myself since I was in my early teens. You know, the Beatles came into the United States and the English invasion, the Beatles, the Stones, the Hollies, the Animals. And so I picked up on that and played drums for a little bit, then got a guitar, and I've been playing guitar ever since.
Nice. So what would you say your greatest passion is within the music industry?
I think songwriting.
Yeah?
Songwriting, yeah. So it's such a challenge.
Okay. What is your vision of your songwriting for your music?
My vision from this. Well, you know, I think like most songwriters, I want to write a song that people can relate to, think about, reflect on, and to laugh. And so my vision is to kind of get songs that after I'm done, somebody says, hey man, I get you, or they laugh about something that happened to them in the song. So very relatable stuff.
Nice. Well, we're all looking for those songs that we can relate to and sing along to in the pickup truck as you're driving along, right?
10-4, copy that.
Roger Dodger, yeah.
Yeah, breaker, yeah. Sure
so what would you say your biggest secret is of the music that you write?
The biggest what now? I didn't hear you.
Biggest secret of the music that you write. Your biggest music secret.
Geez, I try not to have any secrets. You know, I want to be as transparent as possible. You know, I mean, the adage in songwriting, as a songwriter, you write what you know. And so when I write songs, I'm putting a little bit of me in every one because I'm writing what I know. So I'm not keeping any secrets here.
So the secret is the secret.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. What would you consider to be your greatest successes and learning moments?
In my musical career, I guess you're assuming, right?
Yes.
Okay. Well, I mean, I've been recognized by one of my songs won a contest from National Songwriters Association. You know, I got an honorable mention on it, but it was an international competition, so that was pretty much of a success. And I guess another success is I'm a busy gigging musician, and so I'm successful in the fact that at least venues like me, and so I'm playing around the state.
Nice.
And I have one interesting sex story. Like when I was in college, I was in a rock band, a really loud rock band. We were two things. We were hired to play at a school for the deaf because we're so loud. We vibrated the walls and the floor for the deaf kids. And that was pretty much fun. And then we were hired to play, back in the day, there was something called streaking. I don't know if you remember that in the United States.
No.
Streaking was when people got naked and ran down.
Oh my gosh! Really?
So, yeah. So at one of the colleges, one of the colleges here in Missouri, they had a big streak festival. It was like 10,000 people, and they hired us to play this gig where there were a lot of people naked running around and a naked lady on a horse. But it was 10,000 people. That was a pretty good, successful gig. You know?
Goodness. I'm sorry, I've never heard of anything quite like that before.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and it didn't make it north. It didn't make up north across the border, I guess.
No, us Canadians were a little bit different than some of the Americans are, I think.
Got it. Yeah.
Personally, I really like my clothes. All right. So if you could give yourself some advice that you would have gleaned from your experience now, what advice would you give to yourself 20 years ago?
I think 20 years ago, I wish I had written a song that I wrote probably 10 years ago called Still Small Voice. That's kind
Mm-hmm.
of a verse out of the Old Testament, but it's basically listen to your conscience, listen to your intuition. I wish I had started doing that many years before that, to where, God, if you have a gut feeling, follow that. And in my musical career, a lot of times I didn't until then,
Mm-hmm.
until, about 10 years ago.
Yeah, that's an interesting point. That gut intuition and just being able to follow that and follow your inner voice, right?
Yeah, yeah. Yeah.
Um,
I had to, you may or may not know, but I was a police officer for many, many years. And
I didn't know that.
yeah, 22 years. And so I developed that intuition as a police officer, to work cases and interview people and things like that. But it didn't really carry on into my musical career. So I wish I had, kind of merged those things in sync to where I would pay attention to what my inner musical, muse was telling me.
It's important to listen to yourself, right? And that
Yeah.
inner voice, it's incredibly wise. And I often wonder if it's that inner voice that's influenced through our prayers and meditation to find us and guide us in the right ways.
Yeah. Well, that's the plan anyway.
Absolutely. Well, apparently it's his plan too, right?
Yeah.
So, tell us a little bit about your career as a policeman.
Oh, well, I was a policeman in Missouri, and I was a detective for many years, and I was assigned to homicide and narcotics and terrorism and
Ooh.
fraud investigation. So I had a pretty wide swath of law enforcement experience at the local, state, and federal level as well. I worked on task forces for DEA and FBI, and of course after 9/11 there was a lot of terrorism stuff that we did. So yeah, I had a pretty good career.
So, did you ever have to draw guns and chase
Yep.
bad guys?
Yeah. In the first 10 years, I worked some pretty shaky neighborhoods. So, and back then there was a lot of gangs and crack and all that stuff going on in the United States. But yeah, it was a tenuous time. I've seen some amazing things, and I've seen some things that I wish were unseen.
Yeah, sometimes it'd be nice to be able to unsee what we see, wouldn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Some of those things are still rolling in the back of my head sometimes,
Mm-hmm.
And that broad life experience and in that career as well as before that, I was a paramedic, but, it's fodder for songs, a lot of that stuff can come out into your music.
Yeah, you got a lot of good opportunity to bring a lot of stories to light through your music that way.
And
Yeah.
I have. Yeah.
All right. Well, I moving on from being a policeman. How did you move from being a policeman into being a farmer? Because I know you do hobby farming right now too.
Well, I retired, and
Okay.
after I retired from the police department, I moved into corporate law enforcement, corporate investigation. I did that for about another 15 years. And then, after when COVID hit, and then my wife and I, both of our parents passed away around that, not because of COVID, just, naturally. And so we were in a house in the city, and we decided we'd had a farm for 20 some odd years. So, we're retired. Our parents have passed away. Why don't we move up to the farm? So we moved up to our farm and put some cattle on it and dogs and cats, and that's
Nice.
it. Yeah. So
Nice. So, do you have any other family members living with you on the farm? Or is it just yourself and your wife?
Yeah, just us, and we've got some kids that live not too far from here that moved up to the country too, and then we have kids in the cities and stuff like
Nice,
that.
nice.
They're visitors, you know.
So how many head of cattle do you have?
Today we have 15, including one new calf.
Nice.
And,
Little baby was born today?
2 days ago.
Nice.
Yeah, a little bit.
They're so cute, aren't they?
Yeah, they are. I was just out with them this morning.
Yeah, they really like to nibble, right?
Mm-hmm.
Looking for mom, right? Looking to nibble.
Oh yeah.
I love calves. They're so cute. Their big eyes are like, oh.
They're like 1,000-pound dogs.
Yeah, they'll follow you everywhere. They'll nuzzle you, they kiss you. Yeah.
They will. They will attack you when they think you might have some treats for them.
Hey, let's play. What are you doing working? Come on now. I'm just a baby. Cool. Okay, so is there anything else that excites you other than farming, music, and your past careers police? Any other interests or hobbies?
That's enough. You know what I mean?
I keep you busy.
Yeah, my plate is pretty full. You know, between playing gigs and taking care of animals and stuff. Yeah, that's pretty busy. It's not a retirement gig, that's for sure.
Well, you see, maybe that's why they call it retire, because really, when you retire, you think about all these things that you want to get done, right? And so you're really tired then.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, true that.
Have you always lived in the United States?
Yep.
Okay. Always in Missouri?
Always in Missouri.
Nice.
Yep. Yeah.
Okay, we're going to switch gears now. So we're going to ask you some entertainment questions about film, music, media, art, lifestyle, things that interest Howard. So first of all, how many languages do you speak?
English, one. I might know a few words in Spanish.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The choice words in Spanish, right?
Yeah, well.
Cerveza, por favor?
I think manos arriba is put your hands up.
There you go.
A few cuss words. I won't say the
There you go. If you're going to watch a film, are you going to watch it at home or are you going to watch it going out?
Probably at home nowadays.
Yeah. Comfort of a chair and a nice beverage with the wife, right? If you had...
Plus, Canada, but around here, it's $40. If two people go to the show, it's $40, just to go to a show, get some popcorn. And it's like, man, that's really high just to see a movie, $40.
That is, things have become extraordinarily expensive. Yeah. Here in Canada, they're very expensive as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, I'll often watch TV at home too. Yeah. Save my money for ice cream on the beach.
That sounds good.
Yeah. What would be your favorite genre of music?
Right now it's country.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's my favorite.
And who would you say your favorite artists are?
Well, I've got several genres of artists I really like. Of course, I'm a big Tom Petty fan.
Oh,
Tom Petty and Heartbreakers. I like Hank.
Yeah.
Hank Williams Sr. and Hank Williams Jr. I like those two guys. Charlie Daniels. And I've always been a big fan of Lou Reed. I don't know if you're familiar with who Lou Reed is, but I'm a big fan. I've been a big fan of Lou Reed for many years. And of course, I like the early country rock genre, the Eagles and Poco and New Riders of the Purple Sage, those guys. So yeah.
A lot of those guys really have stood the test of time, right? The albums that were big in the 70s, they're still big in 2020s, right? I mean, That's a 50-year lifespan for a song. That's a humongous accomplishment, right?
And some of them are still alive. some of them are even still touring, you know?
I know, right? Oh my gosh, wouldn't it be amazing to meet one of those icons, those iconic bands?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, one day. All right. Now, the kind of media that you like, if you were to be given a choice, would you choose TV, theater, a concert, a bar, or karaoke?
Probably TV, because it's so easy and accessible.
Well, you're probably pretty busy at the end of the day. You just want to put your feet up, right?
Yeah, true that.
Yeah, true that.
I mean, not that I don't mind going to a bar, but nowadays, about the only time I go to a bar is when I'm gigging at one. I don't just hang out there anymore. Plus, living where I live in the country, it's 30 minutes. It's a 30-minute drive to get to the closest tavern. So you got to really make plans to go, and do you really want to have a couple beers and drive 30 miles? So, don't do that stuff.
Well, and then again, of course, you do have a farm, and you got cattle, right? And so, when some of your heifers are pregnant, you really can't go anywhere or do anything. Isn't that right?
How it is right now, I was out. So. Okay.
Oh, okay.
You got company.
Yes, I have a little dog visiting me. Hey, be quiet. She wants to become part of the interview is what she wants.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. In terms of art, do you like painting, photography, metal art, structural art, nature?
Yeah, I'm not much into art. I mean, I like,
No?
I can't remember the last time I went to the art museum. Like, we have really good art museum in St. Louis, Missouri. I can't remember the last time I went to. Well, the last time I went to one, I was on display in a rock and roll display at a museum in St. Louis. But as far as walking around and looking at Renaissance paintings and stuff like that, it's not me.
I think I've been to that museum in St. Louis.
Really?
Yeah. I think I've been there. Many years ago, I used to be a traveling sales representative, and I used to sell chemicals for formulation products. I was a formulation chemist. I'm a biochemist and a geneticist. And so I'd been hired by a chemical company, and I was in St. Louis, Missouri, for training. Yeah.
Oh,
So
interesting.
I've been to that museum because that was our outing, and it was like such a cool break.
Maybe you were at Monsanto. Were you at Monsanto? Because that was a big chemical company in St. Louis at the time.
No. I wasn't working with Monsanto. I was working with the ingredient suppliers for cosmetics. So for making face creams, hair products, hair gel, those sorts of things.
Well, I hope you like your visit. Nice little town. St. Louis is a nice little town.
So no, I'd never been involved with Monsanto making Monsanto products. No, that's not me. I didn't do that. And there's good and bad about that, but we won't go there today. All right. Fashion. What do you like for fashion?
Oh, I'm a fashion icon. Bib overalls, blue jeans, and a t-shirt.
That's not true. I know you like your boots. I know there's
boots.
You
gotta have boots. Gotta have boots. And
you like Red Wings.
Red Wings. Yeah, those are good ones. And Lariats are good, you know. I'm not a Tony Lama $250 pair of boot guy, you know.
Well, Red Wings aren't cheap. Are they
No,
cheap down in the States?
nothing's cheap.
I know, right? I have two. I've got three pairs of Red Wings, and they're my absolute go-to shoes. Right? I got my steel toes for the farm fields that I use. I got my steel toes for the steel place that I work at, and then my most favorite pair of shoes. I've got a dress pair of shoes from Red Wings, and oh, they're just amazing when you're going out. They're so comfortable,
Yeah.
and they look nice, right? And you know, happy feet make me happy.
Yeah, that's true.
You know, I think a good pair of shoes can take 10 years off the face.
I hadn't thought of it that way, but you're probably right.
So I know you've got your own fashion
Yeah,
sense.
it's, you know, somewhat grunge, you know. I mean,
It's a little bit sensible.
you know, I have no reason to wear a suit anymore, you know.
Isn't that
Yeah,
nice?
it's nice.
I mean, that tie, I always look at people wearing those ties and I think that could be a little bit constricting.
Yeah, well, we all had to wear that kind of stuff at one time, but
Mm-hmm.
not anymore.
There you go. All right. And if you're going to make something for yourself, are you going to make it at home or are you going to go out?
Oh, we're talking food?
Yep.
More so at home, you know.
And are you the cook or is your wife the cook?
Oh no, I'm not the cook. Yeah, I mean, I'm not a foodie, you know. I mean, I'm of the ilk that basically food is just, you know, energy, and get the best kind of energy you can, and you know, whether it's, you know, premier whatever from super duper organic this, or it's not. You know, you need food for energy, but going out and getting a, you know, a really high calorie meal with all kinds of 5 courses, that's not important to me.
But you live on a farm, right?
Yeah,
Does your wife have a nice vegetable garden?
we do every
Yeah.
year.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So you got
yeah, that's
you got
her
some of
thing.
the best food possible, right?
Well, we try to we try to eat good. Yeah.
Well, and performing too, right? And writing songs and stuff like that. Um, Now, if you were going to go out, do you prefer to be in nature or the city? Yeah,
Nature, yeah,
right where you live, right?
out here. Yeah, I mean, when I lived in the city, you know, we go back into the city every now and then to visit kids and grandkids and stuff like that, and it's almost like a culture shock where there's so many people and so many cars and so much traffic, and it's like I live almost 3 miles up a gravel road, you know,
Yeah,
so it's
it's nice
I'd
to be
much
away,
prefer,
isn't it?
yeah, yeah. I don't think I could live in the city anymore.
Yeah, I hear you there, Howard. They call it progress, and they've got people living on top of people, on top of people, on top of people. And I'm like, I look at that and I just think to myself, I could never live like that. I love the country too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, if you're going away on vacation, where are you going to go?
How? How can you go on vacation? You know, I mean, um,
Well, you know, that raises an interesting point because when you got cattle, guess what? They become your
yeah,
life, right?
yeah. But
Yeah.
we have. I mean, we really like the Dakotas, um, Montana, Wyoming area. You know, ride motorcycles. You know,
Nice.
in that area often enough, and of course, beach place. You know, Florida. What the Keys? I like the Keys.
Nice.
But you know, nowadays getting down there, probably not going to happen. You know.
Right. So you ride motorcycles too then, Howard?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, have been for since I was a teenager.
That's a nice way to get away. Does your wife ride also, or?
We used to do some trips when we were younger together. Yeah, She doesn't ride so much anymore. I don't ride so much anymore either, you know. I mean, I used to go out with, I've been riding with the same guys for 30 years, and we would go on a couple long trips every year around the country. And it's a group, all of us are cops, and almost all retired now, and almost all of us at one time worked undercover, biker type stuff. And so we all ride bikes, and we've been on many trips together, but now we're all older and we just, you know, don't go on that many long trips anymore. It's hard on your body, you know.
Oh, for sure. So were you able to ride like in formation, like side by side and that sort of thing?
Yeah.
You see?
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
Nice. You've been Route 66, of course, one of the most famous routes.
I've ridden that many times. Nice.
So what would you say your favorite vacation places have been in your lives?
Probably Deadwood, South Dakota, and Key West, Florida.
Nice. Cool. All right.
You should go to at some point in your life. You should go there.
South Dakota and Florida?
Yep.
Okay. I'll take it on your recommendation.
All right.
And maybe I'll have to get a bike and go there too.
It would be an interesting ride from Canada.
It would be beautiful, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it would be.
Yeah. All right. Well, I want to thank you very much, Howard, for taking the time to meet with us here today and share a little bit about your life and a little bit about your music. So where can we find your music?
Well, I mean, most everything's on Spotify or iTunes or, you know, and I've got a website, howardlevinson.net, howardlevinson.net, and I've got some stuff out. I mean, I have some songs playing on various internet stations in Australia and Canada and Denmark and Germany, of course the UK. I got stuff out there as well, and these are all, you know, internet radio stations. So I'm out there. You search for me, Howard Levinson, you'll find me somewhere.
And where can we watch you play usually?
Small town, Missouri.
All right.
Yeah.
Can we ever stream you?
Like playing live?
Yeah.
I guess if a venue does that, I don't know.
Oh, future for thought.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
And where can we follow you?
I guess Facebook, you know.
Okay. Well, we'll make sure we drop the links of where your social media and everything is on this introduction for the interview, and it'll be up on YouTube very shortly. Thank you so much, Howard J. Levinson, for sharing pieces of your life with us and pieces of your music with us. Do you have any parting thoughts that you'd like to share with the audience, Howard J. Levinson?
Well, it was certainly an interesting variety of questions that I was really not anticipating. But you know, it was different for sure. So
there you go. Thank you for being part of our interview.
Okay, thank you. Stay well.
Okay. Be well. Have a great day.
Bye-bye. You too.
Bye.
Bye-bye.